Welcome back to the Factor This interview studio, sponsored by OATI. I'm Factor This content director, Paul Gerke. I'm joined by a special guest that I can't wait to get into the weeds with. It's AspenTech's Sally Jacquemin. She's the VP and GM of their power utilities business. Sally, let's just start with the 101 on your company. For those of you watching who don't know what Aspen Technology does, tell us.
So at Aspen Technologies, we are 100% focused on real-time automation for electric and gas power utilities. So really in that OT space, that operational technologies, you'll find our digital solutions in utility control rooms around the world, really helping utilities ensure the lights stay on, that critical infrastructure. So if you are familiar with OT control technology, we have our OSI Monarch Skater platform, and on top of that, various applications. So we support customers from generation management, utilities, independent power producers, transmission management, distribution management, ADMS, STERMs, microgrids, that full stack of solutions for electric utilities that they would use in a control room.
It sounds like being flexible with your utility customers is so crucial because there is no one-size-fits-all solution. How have you been malleable, like water, as Bruce Lee would say, to fill the crevices in those spaces?
Sure, I think our portfolio is 100% built by us over the last 35 years. And it is meant to be a modular, flexible platform. So utilities, depending on their need, they can deploy our SCADA, they can deploy our OMS or our DMS or EMS, or standardize on our enterprise platform for like a vertically integrated utility. And many utilities, if they are managing generation, transmission, and distribution, there's a lot of value for them in partnering with our Aspen Technology suite because now they have one vendor to work with and one software system to maintain and upgrade and train their people on. So it's a powerful enterprise system that is modular to meet different utility needs.
It sounds like the more complex things become, the more there's a desire to keep things as simple as possible. Has that been the sentiment?
Of course. I think you're right. These systems can be very complex. They can have a lot of integrations. It's really, the OT systems in the control room are the heart and soul of utilities. Utilities can't keep the lights on without these systems. They are mission critical. And so being able to deploy these systems, we typically work with our customers to lay out a phased implementation approach. So it's not one big bang and it's not scary. You're not saying, I need to send a man to the moon, in 3 months. It's like, let's lay out a phased practical implementation plan, because it's not just deploying new software and installing new software. It's the data that a utility has. What kind of quality data do they have that will feed the system? The system is only good and as powerful as the data that we can feed it. And sometimes the utility has some data cleanup or data gaps that they need to address. So we work with utilities to make sure they're successful in their program. And sometimes these programs could be many years long in terms of an implementation timeline.
It seems like everybody has some news around DISTRIBUTECH time of year, whether you're announcing it here on the show floor or in the build up to the event, and you guys are no exception. Tell me a little bit about what's shaking up in your world right now.
So we're very excited to recently have an announcement that we are joining the Emerson family yet again. So we've had a little bit of a journey. The OSI business, as people might know us for the last 35 years, was acquired by Emerson Electric about 5 years ago out of St. Louis, Missouri. And then they created a transaction with Aspen Technologies about 2.5 years ago as part of an investment in industrial software and asset optimization. And so our OSI business joined AspenTech, And now 2 weeks ago, Emerson acquired the remaining shares of AspenTech, and so we are back into Emerson Electric. We're excited to be reintegrating with Emerson. They're, of course, very well known in the power generation space with their Ovation controllers, which absolutely can send data and integrate back to our SCADA systems at the grid control level. So very excited about that. You'll see new news, and we'll be starting to call ourselves Emerson going forward.
Okay, I'll try not to mess that up and refer to you as AspenTech for the next year. Tell me a little bit about how you guys are innovating. We're on this ramp and driven to some degree by AI and its advent across the nation right now. But which ways are you innovating and really, changing the game in a space that's seemingly to change faster than ever?
Yes, well, you're no doubt about it. It's a very exciting time to be in our industry. The challenges couldn't be more urgent. The transformations are just huge. The acceleration of adoption of renewables on the grid, DER, the cybersecurity concerns, the workforce needs. I mean, it's a trifecta.
It's like a perfect storm.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And our customers are turning to us and saying, digital grid management, you are our partner. Your software is at the heart and soul of what we do. We need your help in solving these challenges, addressing these challenges, the climate crisis, the wildfires. We have technology in our system to do wildfire mitigation actions on the grid. And one of the key innovation areas that we've really been we are excited about is this past November we acquired our company called Open Grid Systems out of Glasgow, Scotland. Open Grid Systems, or OGS, is our first acquisition in the digital grid management space, and they provide an industry-leading network model management solution. What is network model management, you may ask? Network model management is really a data fabric, data layer for utilities. So, all these new sensors, devices on the grid that are sending new data back into the utility, that's one piece of it, but that data is only good if you layer that on top of the electrical network model. And you have sources like your GIS with your as-built network model, you have OT systems with your as-operated network model like our ADMS and our EMS, and then you have planning systems like a SIME or SynCall, that have engineering and protection data. Pulling all this data into both static and dynamic data into an orchestrated network model management is the way of the future. So whereas people, 5 years ago didn't know what a DERMS was, and now everyone needs a DERMS because they have lots of DER, we believe and we know that our customers are asking for this network model management technology, and we feel that almost every utility will need this technology in the next 5 to 10 years.
As all roads lead to Rome, I feel like all of these conversations in the T&D space lead back to AI in some capacity, whether it's generative AI or language learning models or ways that it enables utilities or companies like yourselves to take a huge amount of disparate data and make it mean something without necessarily having the manpower to go and process that data. Where do you see AI leading us by the collar in the next couple of years in the utility space?
Sure. Well, I think obviously AI is kind of a buzzy topic around DISTRIBUTECH this year. I think there's a lot of really creative ideas, and startups that are working on how do we use AI and leverage it in the industry. I don't think there's a concrete answer yet, but there's a lot of exploration and research going on, including at AspenTech Digital Grid Management. So we have a team of over 40 data scientists that are researching and beta testing, and we're actively collaborating with our users, our customer base, to leverage real data, to train models, to test things. We're using AI for things like smart alarm management. Utilities can be inundated with thousands of alarms in less than a second. Sorting through the noise to make something actionable, narrow down to the real alarms that need to be managed, and then recommend a next step, a decision by the operator. that's one of the powerful use cases that we're researching. Of course, we've had certain things like neural network analysis in our forecasting engine for load forecasting and generation forecasting for over a decade now. And so we've been using this type of technology for a while, and we're really starting to pick up the research and the evolution and the beta testing to see where else in our portfolio we could add this technology.
We're past the pilots. This stuff's in the field.
Well, yeah, the early stages of it, yes, but there's still a lot of piloting that needs to be done, because the other thing about AI is we also need to be careful with it.
Yeah.
These are mission critical systems,
and a huge cybersecurity risk.
There is a cybersecurity risk. It's grids are mission critical, and any technology or automation needs to be very carefully thought through. It needs to be highly trusted by the operators, or they won't use it. And so we want to make sure that it's trusted, it's proven, it's true, and it's not going to take a left turn when an operator is expecting a right turn.
Yeah, AI doesn't need to be making stuff up on the grid. I think that's a disaster for everybody.
Right. So we just need to be careful and put in place the right guardrails and guidelines to guide what we do in our technology.
All right, Sally, before I cut you loose back into the DTECH floor, I'd love to get your feedback on what you've learned from the event so far, whether it's speaking to colleagues and peers here or attending sessions. Is there a common thread that you can weave through your conversations that you'll take away as a theme from this space this year?
Sure. I think the power and utility industry is, with the energy transition at a really dynamic crossroads. And there's a tremendous momentum, almost like riding a wave for really investing and transforming how utilities work. And it really you can feel the growth, you can feel the excitement, you can see the investment from utilities, and these are, it takes a long time to get regulatory approval to invest in something, to budget for investment in some of the technologies you see around here. And utilities are making those investments, and there's no slowdown of that happening. And so it's really encouraging to see the strong technology really starting to make a difference in our users, in the utilities. And some of this technology like DERMS that was just an idea 5-10 years ago, we have it deployed. We have it working in really unique, exciting use cases at utilities around the world. And so it's really enriching, it's really encouraging to see the technology in action, know it's making a difference in utility operations.
Sally, I really appreciate your time. Thank you for stopping by the Factor This Interview studio, and enjoy the rest of your time here at DTECH.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.